Did you know it is the Black West Indian cricketers who have changed the face of cricket internationally and still is one of the best team to play up against even now in world cricket? Did you know that? Hey, check out our chat. This episode is sponsored by J&J Garage. Top quality, cheap prices.
J&J Garage, we do excellent brakes and clutch repair. Pressure plates, flywheels, disc brake pad, brake shoes, clutches. Any job you have, cars, vans, jeeps, buses, trucks, and tractors. Just call J&J Garage, 1-876-408-3836, 887-7504 for all your pickup and delivery service throughout the 14 parishes.
All right, welcome again to another SportGlobe video. Thank you very much for joining us again here, and we appreciate you logging on and checking out our videos. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our SportGlobe video. Hey, Rudy, what's up?
Yes, man. What's going on? All right, to know.
Yeah, man, we good. All right, so today we have a little chat about, of course, it's Black History Month, all of February, so we have a couple of little chat on it. So, we just want to sit down and all our vibes in regards to, some of the black sports men and women that made a mark or changed the sport that they competed in, or the sporting discipline that they competed in terms of their game and the mark that they made, So Rudy and I, we started a discussion on it, Rudy. And, it kind of gets interesting, because when you think about people who really changed the sporting world, whether it's football, golf, tennis, track and field, you name it, a black person had been there that has changed the whole dynamics of the sport, whether it by a play that they made, whether it is that they opened the gate for other blacks to come in, whether it is that they move the standard of the sport to another level to make it even more competitive, something. But, one other thing is that a black person would have impacted most of the sporting discipline that you can recall. Rudy, I want to start off, Rudy, in hockey, ice hockey. There has been black persons playing in the league in the NHL of recent time, but I heard there was a black hockey team. I think they were here in Canada, all black hockey team here in Canada at one stage.
I don't know much about it, but I know it's especially during this time of History Month. It's always popping up. I think those was coming out from a Nova Scotia or somewhere in that area. I believe is really coming from. But I think they're the one who really started the hockey. If I'm maybe I'm mistaken, but I think but there was a black hockey league.
There was a league, not just a team.
It's not a team, it's a league. Yeah, so it was certainly that's something new if it started through them, because we do know that hockey is not Canadian number one sport. So certainly, even though they are dominating in it now, it's not the number one sport. So you have to start somewhere, and they probably adapt it and take it over. Yes, we have seen it. A lot of the sport that is not, it's not black sport either. It has been we sometimes we adapt it and then we change some things in it, and because of the way how dominating black people are, change the way the sports run today. And one of the major
what is fascinating? Yeah, go ahead.
And one of the major sport to me is cricket. That's a major sport. And I believe that the whole cricket have changed from since the days of slavery, when black men was ball boys when they were playing cricket. And then to start up their own, that's how it become, cricket become through the Westerners via through that concept. Not the white man bringing it in. Yes, they started it, but certainly the black men was ball boys. Them slaves, they were ball boys, and they decided to start playing, and then one or two of them start looking good. One or two of them start looking good, and then the slave masters start using them. and so forth. They start their own league and coming up. But we go back in the days of seeing some great batsmen in the West Indies and great bowlers that change the dynamics of the cricket in the Caribbean to make it
Mhm.
the number one sport for many
West
islands in the
Indian.
Caribbean.
Mhm.
Yeah, many of them. This is the number one sport is cricket.
One of the fascinating history with West Indies cricket and cricket in general, though, and it's not just West Indies cricket. Rudy, is West Indies bowling attack that they had. Pace
Yes,
bowling was never in cricket
in
before
cricket.
West Indies.
Yeah,
West Indies came and brought in pace bowling. The whites could not handle it at all, and it has been one of the things that we have used to change the whole dynamics of cricket because we were getting teams out, in numbers all the time.
and the one I
Um,
remember in my time was West Indies bowling out a team for 27, and that's what
mhm.
I remember. And I remember another 20. I remember seven, but I seen Ambrose bowl out some guys for one, 7 for 1, and it's like,
Yeah,
gee. And I remember a story that when West Indies was playing India, and some of these players get hurt, like they were
yeah,
getting
Wheeler.
hurt, and I think that's where the headmate come in too. Headmate started
Yeah,
because of West Indies
West
fast bowling,
Indies.
so we
Yeah,
changed the sport where they started with the helmet with the medal thing
and
in front of it,
lots of shoulder pads now and
shoulder pads,
side gears
yeah, yeah.
and yeah,
So
yeah.
we
So the
changed
West
it
Indies
not for a
bowling.
bad, not for a bad. It's for a good for protection. Um,
Hmm.
and because we see it in football, as time goes, the pads have to change, the helmets have to change
Hmm.
in American football, not
Yeah,
soccer.
that's
So
okay.
suddenly we have seen that, and it's something that we have to look at how we coming in and change the sport for the better, not for the worse.
Hmm.
And I think that's what really happened, and that's what really bring us cricket to be that number one sport. Anywhere you go in the Caribbean, it's cricket. Doesn't matter. It's cricket.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal though because you remember, the fast bowlers back then and even today's
Mhm.
date, the
Yeah.
Indians and the Australians and
Yeah.
the
Experience.
English
Yeah.
guys is something
Yeah.
that they feared of West Indies up until
What
this
it is about
day,
to this day.
right? When you hear
To this
about
day.
Patrick Patterson, Courtney
Yeah.
Walsh,
For the Welsh. Yeah.
um,
Coley Ambrose and
Ambrose,
Ambrose and yeah.
that kind of a thing. But you know what was so fascinating as well is that the batting was something too.
Yes. Oh
Because
yeah.
even when they decided to try bowling to West Indians as fast bowlers, they decided to bring big players to try and bowl to
Yeah.
the West Indians.
It's a West
The
Indies. And just like I
batting,
said,
the batting was something too.
the
Is that we were
batting
always
become
creative?
better. The batting
Yeah,
become better and better, and then you see now
yeah.
they something was taken away from watching West Indies play. They play with a strategy. They don't just go and hit wild, and they play the strategy.
Hmm.
You need 2 runs, you take 2 runs. You try to get certain amount of runs in an over. So they play with a strategy that you see a lot of teams are coming in with the same kind of strategies now. That started with West Indies.
Yeah,
Where you need to get around, so you don't fight for hit a boundary and get a catch. You try to go for 2 rounds. So you try to take one from here, one from there. So you try to do your plan because you sit down with a team and you make a strategy. You have how much overs. You need so much rounds per over. So
hmm,
it was a strategy, and you see a lot of teams pick up that now and start doing that now by
yeah,
doing the math. The math was they were just going to play, but now the math coming and that happened through West Indies playing West Indies black men in cricket.
yeah,
And then now you're seeing it too. The women is no different now. The women is phenomenal as well. And the
yeah,
women also change the game for young girls in the Caribbean, just as how the men change it for men for the young men in the Caribbean.
yeah.
So certainly was.
Yeah, man. So another sport that was transcended by black though is the sport of golf. Tiger Woods would have
Yeah.
gotten involved into that sport because I mean, and it's not that we're saying that white people were bad, but the door was never open for
Yeah.
blacks to play these sports, and that's one of the things that we're looking
Mm-hmm.
at is that
Yeah.
these doors are always never about black people just walking in and playing the sport. It's something that golf is something that you have to be a part of a clubhouse, right? So you have to be an invited person to be able to even play in the thing, right? And to see a Tiger Woods would have gotten through and dominated the sport for years and changed the whole thing about sport. As a matter of fact, Tiger Woods helped to raise the prize money in golf, to significant numbers up until this day. Golfers are paid okay that time, but no, golfers are paid very well. So Tiger Woods reached the point in his career where he was one of the highest paid sportsmen, out there in any sporting discipline at all. Was one of those highest paid, and the barrier that he had broken into the thing, and he would have not just opened the door, but he would have brought a whole new generation of fans to the sport of golf. Because at one stage, even myself, I never used to watch golf. When I start really watching golf is when Tiger Woods won that first Masters. That's when I really started to even know about Jack Nicholson and all them play. That was that time. That's how I started to even look at the sport. I was as a black youth out there in the world. I don't watch golf. Why should I be watching golf? Nobody like me is playing the game. But I mean, the guy break the barrier, open the door, and continue to win masters up on top of masters and break records up on top of records and that kind of a thing, So yeah.
I mean, and he didn't have to take a lot of men to do it. To take one man,
Yeah.
just one. It's one that changed the concept of the sport and be the highest player and to see the Nike, and all the sponsorship and all those things that changed the concept of the sport. And suddenly and globally too, not only out here, like you said, golf was always there. Golf never gone. Golf was playing way back in the days,
Yeah.
But for us, we still to see that, especially watching on TV and seeing a black man is playing, it changed something for us. It changed something for the youths to say, yes, I can do that too. Yes, we can do that
Rudy,
too.
when he was winning the first Masters, remember this now, You remember events like O.J. Simpson court case.
Yeah.
The entire world stopped, watch it for days. It's almost like a soap opera. Tiger Woods, first Masters, people stopped, watch it. And I'm not talking just people in America. I'm talking people worldwide. It was golf. It was one of golf's most premier moments. That's when golf was watched by every single human being in the world.
It's almost
the day that he made that putt that day, the world was silent. I can remember I was in Jamaica, right, and watching the thing on TV, and you could hear a pin drop because everybody was, is he going to get? You could hear the world, and I could almost hear across the oceans, Rudy. That's how quiet the entire world was. That's how the feel was. You could hear across the ocean. When the guy won, oh my God, that was the biggest and most noise you could hear about. Anywhere, anybody. You don't have to even play golf or watch golf ever. You don't even know how golf spell. But the person was into and and the person knew what happened.
Yeah.
Big event globally. I think that was the highest point of golf, that time. Yeah.
Another black guy. Another breaking one too, that breaking the barrier was tennis and female.
Yeah.
We always pick up men in a lot of things, but this one was real female and females breaking the barrier in tennis, and what they can do in tennis was the Williams sisters, and that the way they transcend tennis to where it is today. Seen a lot of young black girls playing, even to be getting back to the top of the podium and being top three in the world with Coco Golf. In golf, in tennis, I mean, it changed, man. So when you see those things, young people coming in and coming from a humble background, and going as far as winning the Olympics, as far as the sport can go. That there's nothing beyond the Olympics. It stopped there. That's where sports end. You've got the Olympics, and you can go there.
Hey everyone, check out this bump-free spray. It stops grown hair. To show you just one spray, it's that easy. No bumps, no irritation, just smooth skin. Get yours today.
And also winning there. It shows something, and it shows to young black females, yes, you can do it too. Yes, you can do it too.
So much so, Rudy. So now in tennis, there's a whole plethora of black young girls playing tennis right now. Right? So that Venus and Serena Williams.
Including being our number one here in Canada is, a black young lady, which
is a black young lady. Yeah. Then she's doing fantastically well.
Listen, number one in the US and number one in Canada are black females.
Yes. Yeah. There's a whole lot. And when we think about sport like soccer, I mean, go all the way back to Pele. That's where I think that the door for black persons to get involved, because of course the Europeans, was always the leader where soccer is concerned. But this, one humble black guy coming from out of Brazil, and of course Brazil has a black community there as well, right? And coming from humble beginning too, and that's the thing about black people all the time, is that these people who break these barriers are never, you can go back and check it as far. Every single one of them come from somewhere that they never had the requisite tools to even get them. So you can imagine tennis, very expensive, golf, very expensive, the same thing as soccer, very expensive. And these guys use other things like Pele. Pele used to be kicking a box, any little thing that he could get to play or to juggle or to whatever, right? And that's how that's how he honed the skills that he had, right? And be one of the best players in the world to date. I mean, arguably, you can always say that everybody say Messi, but I really think that Pele would have been a creator of many styles of football right now. The way football styles are played, dribbling the ball in that kind of a way, because back then they never used to carry the ball for long periods. They used to kick the ball long and you control it and you pass it and thing. But this guy was a guy who would hold the ball up, he would pass many players and that kind of thing and score goals. At the same time, he was under a lot of abuse, of course. I mean, he got kicked, he got punched, he got everything, but still, was the best player today, in my view. Messi is good, Cristiano Ronaldo is good, and thing, but Pele, I mean, opened the door for real black. I mean, look at the Nigerians and the Ghanaians and the, all of them playing worldwide football right now. It's a big thing.
No, certainly, and it's and we have seen for us, like, because we are West Indian, the Brazilian and Pele is what changed. If you go back now, there's a slew percent of West Indian favorite World Cup team is Brazil. There's a slew, about 60%. Except me. Exactly, except me, but that slew amount of us come up by watching the Ronaldos, and everybody was at O in the end of the name, and to see the way they're playing, because we see them as being being black as in they're playing. You look at the French team. Maybe the whole starting lineup is from they're black, like either born in France or from a different country, where they're black, and we have seen that too. And listen, and how much things they probably had to go through before they get what they get. What did they have to go through? How much spitting they got to take, and how much disrespect they had to take, and how much name calling they had to take.
How much racism?
With a lot of these athletes going back with Tiger Woods and these sisters, what we just spoke about, and even today we have seen it in front of us. Even when Coco Gauff was playing and she win, then you have the Serenado, whatever her name is, she says something negative towards her too. It keeps coming out, and in bright day before it was like, man, one of those things. But today we're seeing that coming back in the same light as how it was. But that shouldn't keep us down. That should make us stronger, make us better. But every single time something happening that people are humble, we are still humble.
Yeah.
Black people are
Rudy,
still humble.
I want to ask you this question. Do you think that because black persons have entered, because, and let's just look at even soccer right now. Soccer right now is really exciting because there's a lot of exciting black players inside of these
Mhm.
different leagues. At one stage I didn't know that I would ever see a black player in an Italian league. I didn't know that I would see a black player on a German national team. I never know that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
possible,
yeah.
right? Um, and a whole lot of that is happening now. Do you think that the fact that all these black talent should have came in, broken a lot of barriers, got involved in the sport is why a lot of the sports are even more exciting now. And I'm not knocking white people at all. And I'm just saying, with the talent that black people bring to these sports, would have opened them up. And I want you to go back and think about Tiger Woods, as I said, when he won his first Masters, the world stopped and watched. When Pele was playing, the world stopped and watched. When Usain Bolt was achieving his world records, right? Because he now win one world records, his world records. The world stopped
I
and
see.
watched. When Brian Lara was getting his highest score, the
Mhm.
world stopped and watched. You
Yeah.
understand?
And you
When
go back
Muhammad
and
Ali
yeah,
was winning his first
stop.
fight, the world
Stop.
stopped and watched. So I want you to tell me whether or not
But
you
look at
think
that
that
too.
black
Let's go
people,
back and
yeah,
continue on. Michael Jordan was playing,
yeah,
and the Williams sisters when they were
yeah.
playing, the world stopped, So yeah, the black people break a lot of barriers, and they have been through a lot. Um, and there's a uniqueness about them, still being humble in spite of
Hmm.
everything that they've been through. All of this, each and every one that we talk about went through a challenge. They've been through some challenge before they get to the way they get.
Hmm.
They've been through the challenge and they stay humble. It was never about money.
Hmm.
It's about the love for the
For the
sport.
sport. Hmm.
And I think once we understand that, I think that's what it is. It's the love for the sport. Like we just used to talk about Michael Jordan, they get beat down in the game. They twist ankle, hand, they're bleeding. The love for the sport.
Still playing. Hmm.
I'm still playing. And how much time Tiger Woods get knocked down? How much time his name was called? How much time they called names to the Williams sisters while they were playing, growing up in the game while they were playing. You understand what I mean? And it's the same thing. And we go back with football. Football was the biggest one in America during segregation. Black players couldn't go to Texas
Hmm.
and play.
Hmm.
Black
Hmm.
people couldn't stay at certain hotels. Today, that same hotel is owned by a black man.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because if we think like the way they think too, then we ain't gonna get nowhere. I say, why would I want to buy anything from you?
Yeah.
Understand? We got to think beyond. So there's the humbleness, We got black leaders. Remember, black president, the highest position that ever could be in the world was
Hmm.
a black man, and that
Is that black
makes
man?
us feel yes, we can do it. Change everything that we do, but we just have to be humble and continue being
Yeah.
humble as we are. And I think certainly what it is. Like I said, all this sport that you call, when they're in the tip and the highest, the world stop.
Hmm.
Everybody talk about it the next day at work.
Yeah.
Everybody watch it. The world stop.
Everybody stop and watch.
So it
Yeah.
shows that during this month of History Month, that what sport have done for young people, for just black people in general, has been extremely great, and it built us, it groomed us, it molded us to tell us, yes, we can do it too. They do it, yes, we can do it.
Who's your greatest black player of all time
Any sport,
in sport? Yeah. Any
Michael
sport.
Jordan. Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
Greatest black player of all time.
all time, all time.
Or none.
Yeah, by long shot for me. And I'm only going because of my era, my time.
Mhm.
So no, yes, I've seen Muhammad fight, but yes, so a lot of it was before my time, before I know much of it, before I could see it on TV, those type of things, right? I've heard of a lot of the great players, the Gary Sobers and those players, but I never seen them because back then we never had television to see.
Yeah, to see
We only
them.
hear.
Hmm.
The same thing with Pele and a lot of these guys. We only hear because we couldn't see anything because the television. We grew up like that, television, those type of things
Yeah.
in the era. So in terms of seeing something, I'm not I'm not saying I hear something later on or so I
See
legit
these things. You
something in the
watch these
ring.
games.
When I've physically seen it, it's a difference.
Yeah.
Suddenly, it's a difference. So to
You
me, it
see?
is. Then it's going to follow by Usain Bolt, um,
Yeah.
by far. Humble, man, I've never seen man so humble, so friendly. Like I've seen him
Hmm.
in the
Hmm.
getting ready to run and he's laughing and giggling with those guys, and it's like, who does that? Nobody
Yeah.
does that. People are
No.
like right now, me and you's enemy. I ain't talking to you. After the game with that picture, even though we're from the same country, I ain't talking to you. But who does
Yeah.
that? Because it's more
No.
about the sport, man. There's more to it that it has to be fun.
Yeah.
You gotta enjoy it, you gotta love it, and certainly what it is. But I've seen greatness, and it's so hard to single. I know I just did
Hmm.
just really single out the greatness in sport
Hmm.
because then you have the disappointment in some of them, and then
Hmm.
if you add everything together, you can and tie it up and say, well, he can't be my greatest because look at the time he disappoint me. How many times he didn't
Yeah.
win? You guys what I'm saying, right? But you have to look more into it. Let me tell you why Michael Jordan is my greatest. After the last game they play against Detroit and they lost,
Hmm.
his trainer came to him and said, "All right, man. So I'll see you in a few months." He said, "What are you talking about? See you tomorrow." He said, "What? See you tomorrow." It didn't stop for him because his goal
Hmm.
was to win. You know what I mean? So he still pushing, even though he just lost. And some people will go on rest, go on vacation, take a break, and then come back and start. No, he's back in training
Yeah.
the next day, and that's really greatness. And then there's almost no time off. To
Yeah.
get to the top, you cannot sleep. If you sleep, everybody else getting there, and you're still
Yeah.
sleeping.
I like the
Right?
quote. I like the quote from Michael Jordan that he always says that the shot that he missed on the court is the shot that he go home and he practice it 1,000 times
A
over,
thousand times, and they get it.
and he never stop
Sometimes
until he gets it.
you never stop until they
Yeah,
get it.
but yeah, my favorite and all time black sports person is always going to be Usain Bolt, and I can tell you why quickly. Is that Usain Bolt for me had came up and did everything
Yeah,
any youngster would have done and been through, the life that any youngster would have been through, right? Came up as a junior, win as a junior, but came into
mhm,
senior, lose as a senior in his first outing, and was a little bit not so sure of himself. But while getting advice, he became the person that he is today. And the thing about Usain Bolt is that for me, that stands out is that he enjoyed the sport, as you say, Rudy, right through
very
until
true.
his retirement. He enjoyed the sport, even though he never liked training,
Yep, he
but
was
he
lazy.
enjoyed competing all the time. He brought a level of fun, and this wasn't fun that he's when he smiles. It is not like, oh, I'm just smiling because I'm out here in the public. It was always a genuine fun. When he would stop and he would, the guy who carrying the bucket or the bucket that's standing behind his blocks and everything, and he would recognize all of those people, recognize people in the stands everywhere. And one of the barriers that Usain Bolt had broken for me is when you can go to a country and have a country change their tax policies is significant. It said something about who you are and how significant a contribution that you are making to that sports, and not even just to the sports, but just to sports overall. Because Usain Bolt competing was not just opening the door for track and field athlete, right? It was about sports people believing that we can reach this height, we can influence politicians, we can, I want to say influence, I mean, get them to move in the direction that you as a sportsman want them to move in, to, to see you as a better person, to think that you deserve compensating at this level and that kind of a thing. You would have moved those needles in numerous ways, and says, the sport of track and field, the bar is this high and it is very competitive. And I tell you what, one of the significant thing in Usain Bolt's era is that every single 100-meter final, whether World Championships or Olympics, 95% of the qualifiers for the finals is running 9 seconds.
Yeah.
Since then, running 9 seconds is the mark of every finals for the World Championships and the Olympics. If you're not running 9 seconds, it's almost like you're not going to make the finals of those things. It has to be 9 seconds, right? So, and he has moved the needle in significant ways in that kind of thing. I really enjoy him competing all the time. Never say never. Even when he think that he's not ready, he's going to come out on the track and give you 110. And again, he's a sportsman that had stopped the world and let the world watch. When he started and the entire stadium almost left, when he left, it says something to me that this man is really a huge phenomenon. Because you can just imagine somebody paid $1,000 to come in and watch you race. And then they don't even bother to. People not even feel bad that they pay the money and come in, and they never see the race. It's really great.
Today, when you talk about greatest in basketball, you're going to hear Michael Jordan's name. Talk about greatest in track and field, you're going to get Usain Bolt's name. You're not going to hear nobody else. Now, you go to tennis, and when you say who's the greatest female tennis, the female, you're going to think the Williams sister, but you're also going to think people like Steffi Graf, and like there are players who was great. Don't get me wrong. You go back to golf, and you say who's the greatest golfer, and you say, oh, maybe Nicholson, Tiger Woods going to be. I guess but those names, nobody could come before those two names. LeBron trying them, but we know they can argue all this stuff. And those two names, there is no question. Talk about football, who's the greatest? I say, well, maybe Messi. Some people might forget about Pele because they don't, kind of remember that, right? A lot of the sports is you always feel like there's somebody else. But when it comes to those two sports, basketball and track and field, it's always going to be Michael Jordan, Usain Bolt. There's nothing competitive. There's nothing competitive in there to compare to. No. So always going to be that way. Always. Carl Lewis and those guys could never come close. Never.
No. Yeah. They never break any barriers.
Yeah. So in this history month, like we said, that we will continue talking some more stuff. Again, as the history month, we could probably trickle down on one thing and talk more about show some clips on Michael Jordan. I'll probably have that up. Some clips on Usain Bolt and during the history month to remember what they have done.
One of the greatest moments.
Michael Jordan came in and changed the shorts. Because the shorts used to be so big. And he's the one who changed these shorts used to be so short. They used to play them.
He's the one who started to wear the longer shorts.
He's the one who came in and changed that. So think of when a man come and change the uniform and how certain things done. It says everything, And the same
Rudy,
thing. And
don't forget Serena Williams that they're going to talk about changing. Because Serena Williams was changing from that white skirt to even the bodysuit that she wore, which made the world stop. That was crazy.
So they do some stuff, So certainly it has been a great. I still don't think black people in the level that they are get the respect that it deserves. Still, even though we are where we are, there's still a long way to go, and we gotta keep pushing. We gotta keep fighting. We just cannot just keep up now because we feel like we have something and we're up there. We gotta keep pushing because one thing could just bring us right back down to the bottom, So certainly,
All right, Rudy. So that's it for our Black History chat. And of course, as Rudy said, we're going to be, bringing in a little bit more details on the history, but that's just on top of our head. We just wanted to talk about some people that we know that we have watched. And then later on, we can bring in some more facts and history in regards to a lot of these players because they have broken some really great barriers and want to remind you of some of those moments that was important. So check us out again in our next video. And just remember to like, share, and subscribe to Sports Globe, and leave us your comments as well. Click the notification bell, of course, just to ensure that when we drop a video, that you be able to be notified and you can participate. All right. Thanks again, Rudy. Big up.
Yeah, man.